What if I told you that leaving a pile of loans and over-leveraged properties as your legacy is not a gift? It is a problem, not a present. I already know I am about to get so many comments of people disagreeing about my views on loans and cash flowing properties that are free and clear, but listen, I'm up for a good fight because I believe in what I'm doing. All right, my name is Ashley Lorraine M.Ed, and I built a seven-figure rental portfolio with no trust fund, no bank loans, and no excuses. Just systems, just strategy, just mindset. And I created the Ashley method for one reason, and it's so that people like you can build real generational wealth, okay? Without burnout, without blind spots, without burying yourself and your kids in debt. I want to talk about what legacy really looks like. So I am going to challenge the idea that owning a bunch of mortgaged homes equals success. Oh God, hold on to your pearls, hold on to your horses, because I already know some of y'all are like, what? Everybody says get loans. Everyone says I need to get a mortgage loan and buy a investment property and use my credit card. All I can say is I use something I call the A.S.H.L.E.Y method, A.S.H.L.E.Y. And it is the same method that took me from overwhelmed to owning a seven-figure portfolio without a single bank loan. Every person, every family, every portfolio owner needs at least one free and clear, high cash flowing property, period. I call mine the cash cows. Especially if you're new, or if you by new, I mean like you have five or less properties, or if you have a bunch of properties, but all of them are leveraged. I'm definitely talking to you guys, okay? You need to start putting revenue in first position, period, if you're new and if you already have a bunch of properties leveraged. So let's get into this Ashley method, A.S.H.L.E.Y. And I'm going to break down each one line by line for you, okay? So I'll start with A. A is for asset. If it doesn't cash flow, I don't call it an investment. If the bank owns it and you're not the bank that owns it, you're not building wealth. You're holding a lottery ticket and you're hoping that the market saves you. I don't invest on hope. I invest for income. Okay. I invest on profit. The S. So we covered the A. Now the S. Saving is silly. Yep, I said it. Come on with the comments. It's my podcast. I can say what I want. Your bank gives what, 1%? And meanwhile, my rentals give me between 15 and 30% returns. And let's be real, right now, inflation is 2.31%, and your savings earn less than that. So you're losing money every day. So no, I don't save to feel safe. I invest to actually be safe. Okay, the H is for high cash flow. I'm not chasing appreciation. I don't invest for someday. I buy for checks, not comps. You are not a pro yet if you're new. So you don't need a spreadsheet full of equity. You need revenue. Okay, I teach new investors to focus on high cash flow first. It's not the only thing. Over your 30 years of investing, you'll try many things, will diversify you, but you need to start with revenue in the first position, especially if you're new. Okay, and you need to do that with, in my opinion, properties that are between, 50 to 100K. You're going to buy it in cash because you're going to make mistakes when you're new. And you need a property that can handle the mistakes that you make and still be profitable. When you get into all of these loans and high leverage and all of that stuff like that, you can't make mistakes because that loan payment is still due, which leads me to the L. Loans are a 30-year job. They are. When you sign up for a loan to buy an investment property, you are telling that lender that for the next 30 years, for the next 360 months of my life, I am going to do whatever it takes to pay you every single month. You are signing away 30 years of your life. That means whether or not that property is cash flowing, you still have to make that payment. Natural disaster, you still have to make that payment. When going through a divorce, life happens, your kids go to college, taxes go up, insurance goes up, and Now the house is upside down. Guess you still have to make that payment. Okay, some of us, me included, can't even commit to a 30-year marriage, but you're committing to a 30-year loan for an investment property, especially if you're new, so you don't even know if you can even do this or hang in there that long. Do you know that 97% of investors quit or they are forced to quit due to death, divorce, disaster, taxes, or lawsuits? Did you know that? So that means there's only a 3% chance that you're going to even make it long enough to even pay the loan off. I digress. Listen, loans are a job. You are signing up to be a worker for someone. And finally, E. The E in A.S.H.L.E.Y is emergency equity, and the house becomes your employee. Okay, so your equity is your emergency fund. It's your backup plan. You can always cash out. You have that as a cushion. If all else fails, it's your property. You can sell it. You can pull the equity out. You can sell it with owner financing, which is what I teach a lot of my clients to do. It's your house, free and clear, okay? And it's also, you know, one thing I like about it being free and clear, and this is going to give you a little bit about my history growing up in poverty. I always wanted to make sure that I had a place to live that like no one can put me out of. I always wanted that. And that is something that helps me sleep at night, just knowing that if all else fails, if I lose everything that I have, the houses that I own in cash, if I can just get a bus ticket to make it there, I have a place to live always and forever. Nobody can put me out of it. And in the markets where I invest, the taxes and insurance are what, $2,000 a year. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have to pay rent on it. Like that helps me sleep at night, especially if you've been around enough to have some life happen. Like, I've gone through divorce. I've gone through, real estate deals where I had to dig into my personal funds because of loans and mortgages and all of that stuff. I've been around this arena for a very long time. I've seen it all, done it all. And I'm telling you, for me, just knowing that I have that property there, just no matter what, helps me sleep at night. It does. And then your house is your employee. That's the other E, okay? A.S.H.L.E. The, my house makes me so much money. And let me tell you, I have been a school principal. I have owned several businesses. So I know what it's like to hire people, okay? I'm telling you, people are hard and people have problems. Houses, they don't talk back. They don't want benefits. They don't want raises. They don't want nothing. You buy it once and it works for you for as long as the house can survive. Okay. So, a lot of my properties are cash flowing me 1250. Actually, a lot of them went up because FMR just went up, but between 1250 and $2,000 a month. And these houses I pay between 50 and $100,000 for in cash. Some less than that, honestly. They're making me all of this money every single month. They're great employees. I love it. Okay. The house clocks in, not you. It pays you. It doesn't call off. Okay. If everything goes wrong, you have a cash cow. And this is also for my experienced investors where most of your portfolio is leveraged. You want to have at least a couple of cash cows. That way, when things do happen to your leveraged properties, you can pull from this cash cow. You have it there. You can pull from the equity. The cash flow is coming in every single month, and you can use that to cover some other things if needed. And the why? The why is get you a Yari before a Ferrari. So I think it's pronounced Yaris, but Yari rhymes better with Ferrari. But have you ever heard of a Toyota Yaris? It's like their most basic model, like the smallest Toyota, but essentially it is a great cash car. It's going to last forever, it's durable, low maintenance, doesn't cost a whole lot when things go wrong. It's simple. There's a reason why everyone starts with a cash car when you're a teenager, right? Because you're new. You don't know a lot of stuff. You probably don't have a whole lot of extra money to put into the car. We need something that can take some damage. You can probably change the tire yourself. The issue with going with the loans that most of you guys are being advised to do is that's like a Ferrari, okay? That is complicated. That means you don't have room for errors, okay? It is high maintenance. It requires finesse and skill. It is expensive to mess up, okay? Expensive to mess up. And, on these houses that you guys have loans on, you don't own it. So you can be making payments for 29 years, okay? That 30th year, if you're missing payments, guess what? Foreclose and the whole house goes back to the lender. Ask me how I know? Because I'm a lender. All right. The Yaris, you can scratch it up, you can hit the curb, you're not gonna lose sleep over it, right? If a Yaris has a scratch on it, who cares, right? When you get a scratch on a Ferrari, you're talking a couple $1,000s just to fix that. I mean, so the cash card gets you from point A to point B. And so does the A.S.H.L.E.Y method, okay? It takes you from surviving to thriving in this real estate game. It takes you from surviving to thriving in the game of life. You know how easy it is to sleep at night when you know, hey, listen, if all else fails, I don't have a payment on there. If, lightning hits it tomorrow, I'll just figure it out. It's a whole different ball game when you're thinking about a house that has a mortgage on there, a mortgage that you still have to make no matter what. If you don't have a tenant in there, that payment is still due. If you don't have a tenant in your cash house, it's like, it would be nice to have one, but it's not like I have an underlying loan that I need to pay on it. It gives you room for mistakes because you are going to make mistakes. Even seasoned investors make mistakes. And the way this market is shifting, is going to be a whole lot more mistakes made or displayed for all of these people who got all of these loans and now we're going into a different season. So listen, I want to take you from where you are, and I want to give you a blueprint to get to freedom, real freedom, where you actually own the asset, where the asset is high cash flowing and making you money, where it can supplement your income, where it can pay for your liabilities, where it can pay for your kids' college. I don't want to get too far into this because I'll talk a little bit more about each, but I like to assign my assets jobs, right? So I shared this earlier today on the live where obviously you can tell I live well. I mean, you can kind of see the background here or whatever. And everyone in my neighborhood has like Bentleys and they have like Rolls Royce and Porsches and all of these nice cars, right? And I drive a Nissan. And I always tell people, well, listen, I have one house that is assigned to my car. So whatever that house makes, that is the kind of car that I can afford. So if that house makes, I think, $1,000 after I pay all of the expenses and things like that, then that means I only have $1,000 a month to cover any car notes, any insurance, any car maintenance. If I got to renew the tags, the easy tag, for the highway stickers and all that stuff, it all has to be covered in that. Because I don't like having to pay bills. I don't like, obviously, y'all seeing, I don't like loans on it, nobody, nothing. And maybe I could and I should upgrade that house or move another house to the car, but you do what's best for you. So that is the A.S.H.L.E.Y method. It's not a flashy Ferrari. It is buying your cash car so you can practice without penalty so that you can sleep well at night. And, again, this is coming from experience. I'm not some new investor. I've been around. I had to survive COVID. And one of the ways I've survived COVID, of course, with Section 8, but I survived it because I didn't have an underlying mortgage. So I was chilling. I was like, if they stopped all making all payments, it really stops nothing in my life. If the tenant moves out, okay. That sounds too easy to some of y'all, right? Some of y'all are just, you've convinced yourself that it must be this super complicated way and this super hard way to invest in real estate investing. And it's just simply not true. Keep it simple. Yes, you can use your IRA. Yes, you can use your retirement fund. Yes. I mean, I suggest just use cash, save it up. And once you have it saved, you're saving to invest. So now it can actually start making you money. All right. So, you know, I want to help you do this, but you have to want the help. I am not gonna try to convince anybody that they're wrong for using loans or, that this is the only way because it's not. But this is one way that I know for sure you need to have at least one in your portfolio. So if you decide to meet with me or work with me, whatever strategy you want to use, I'm cool with that. I have coached people who have methodologies totally different from mine. But if you're going to start asking me for my expert opinion, and if you want to do things the A.S.H.L.E.Y way, the way that I know works, I'm 100% going to recommend that you buy a house from 50 to 100K. No, it's probably not going to be in your market. This one count. No, it's probably not going to be in your market. Okay, I live in Texas. Most of my properties are in the Midwest. I've always invested virtually. That's always been the way to do it. I always hear people say stuff like, well, what if something happens? What if the pipes burst at the house, and I'm 2,000 miles away? I'm like, okay, well, what if the pipes burst and you're 2 feet away? What are you gonna do? Turn into Mario and Luigi the plumber and go fix it? No, you're gonna call somebody to go fix it, just like you would do 2,000 miles away. You're not a plumber. What are you talking about? It's the same thing. And I do suggest that you work with me or someone like me because I am very much plugged in virtually. So I've been doing this for 8 years. I have a virtual team. The area where I'm going to suggest you invest for that price point, my team has already been set up there for 7, 8 years. We run the same play over and over and over. But that's just if you want to do my market. If you want to do your own market, me and my team still teach you how to set it up on your own. But I'm still going to check your market and make sure that it makes sense because I want you to be free. Okay. I don't want you getting all over leveraged. I think I have a video of where I show the comparison. Because this is supposed to be a podcast, and I don't know if we're like allowed to share our screen on podcasts. I don't see other people do it. I really would like to. I mean, I don't see podcast police. If you stayed on this long, I guess I can just show you. Let me just show you real quick. Hold on. All right. Don't judge all my tabs. Mind your business. Let's see here. Would it be on this one? On this one? Yes. Okay, so I did a comparison just the other day when I was doing this, and let me show you real quick. So we looked up a random zip code that someone sent to me. She is a realtor in LA, and we are working together because a lot of her clients, they want to get into owning real estate and, being an investor and getting rental properties, but it's so expensive there. So when we looked up her zip code, this was the cheapest house. This was the least expensive house we could find in that zip code. And, we'll go through all of the numbers, but essentially we looked up how much rent they would get if they were able to get like a Section 8 tenant in there. And the zip code was 9990043. Here we go. So for a 3-bedroom, they can get 2940. Is this a 3-bedroom? Yep, 3-bedroom. So they can get 2940 for this house per month. But then when we looked it up here, and we put in all of the numbers for what the mortgage might be, it was like $3,800. So I'm like, you'll have to pay $1,000 to make the mortgage, and you have a renter in there. Like, make it make sense. It makes no sense. And then I saw the down payment. I said 120,000. I said, hold up, hold up. Let me show you my market. For this down payment, you can literally buy an entire house. So I showed them, we pulled up Zillow. So this house, as you can see, is $100,000. It is nice, ready to go, cute, nice little suburban area, cute. And then we looked up the rents for that area, and the rents for that area is $1,520 for a 3-bedroom. Just make sure this is a 3, yeah. For a 3-bedroom, $1,520 a month for that zip code. And then we looked up the mortgage here, like, okay, well, if you got a mortgage, because I don't want you to, okay? But if you did, I mean, you still have great cash flow. You're still bringing home about $750 per month after you pay taxes, insurance, your mortgage payment, and your interest. But I don't want you to do that. I want you to buy in cash, but I understand if, you want to get a loan, that's your thing. And then people are like, oh, you keep saying these $50,000 houses. Like, okay, well, can I find that one? Yes. Oh my God. I do this all the time, guys. This is like not rocket science. Oh my gosh. Okay, look. We'll just put in, really, you can put in a lot of places in Ohio for real, but we'll just do this just for the sake of it. Okay, you can buy some like, oh, I shouldn't have put a minimum, man. Let me put in a maximum. You can buy like some dilapidated property if you want to. And if you have $50,000, like if you bought this for $22,000 right here, I already have a construction crew in Cleveland who is the best of the best. I've been working with them exclusively. All my clients work with them exclusively. I do a warm invite because I know they are the best of the best. Okay, so on your budget, you're going to buy that for $22,000. She'll probably take the other $30,000 to get it nice and rent ready. Now you're all in at $50,000 and you're still going to make 15-20 a month on the property. If it's in that zip code, obviously we'd have to look up, all of these different zip codes. Like this is what we do, 25,000. And these are the ones I love, y'all. I love buying these little ugly, like nobody wants some houses because I know my construction crew is my secret weapon. They're gonna come in, put in 20, $30,000 on this, and now I'm gonna be making all this extra cash flow. So, yes. I'm gonna let this go because I need to close this podcast down, but I just want to say my method works. It's not sexy like a Ferrari, and there's a time and a place for a Ferrari, right? But most people who get Ferraris, we're what, in our 40s or in our 50s, and we've, paid our dues and we've had some experiences, and then we go for the Ferrari. And social media or this consumerism, economy has made you believe that you need to buy a Ferrari when you're 16 or, just starting. No, no. Okay. We're going to start you with the Toyota Yaris. You're going to get the little cash car, the cash house. We're going to get you high cash flow, real freedom. And in the beginning of this, I said, you're just going to leave a pile of loans and a bunch of over leveraged properties. Well, when you do it my way, you are leaving free and clear properties, okay, that are high cash flow. So now your kids can either keep that cash flow and is supplementing, or they can sell them and get all of that equity out. This is where you start assigning your properties jobs. This is true wealth, y'all. This is real freedom, but nobody's going to listen to me because I know every other influencer is telling you, get a loan, do it different. But I'm telling you, listen, Linda, listen. Okay, somebody who's been through life, been through business, I'm telling you, just get one in cash. You got a kid in college. Cool. Assign that house to the kid in college. Anything that kid needs for college, rent or snacks or whatever it is college kids needs comes from that house. You got a wife or a husband that likes to spend. Cool. Whatever income comes from this house, you can do whatever you want to do with it. Like I told you, I assign a house. Okay, you pay my car note. Okay, these two houses pay my mortgage. Okay, this house over here is our vacation fund. And it's just 50, 50, 50, 50. $50,000. Okay, if you want to just closer to turnkey, maybe 100,000. Who cares? If you have it, you need to do it. And it is a savings account. It's not like you buy a house and $100,000 goes away. No, you buy the house and $100,000 stays with the house in equity. Plus, you're getting the rent on top of it. Not even to mention the tax benefits. Okay. Look, I'm not here to sell you on anything. Do what you want to do. But if this sounds like something that you want to do, this is what I do, and I will be happy to help you do it. All right. Until next time, I will see you guys on the next podcast. Again, I am Ashley Lorraine, M.Ed, and I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.